Once again, very good evening, and thank you for requesting for this session, which would, I believe it would help you, but this is also helping me to capture all of my experience while sharing this. Let me start with this disclaimer. As you have already given me consent to record this, so the recording would be used for educational and training purposes. So I'll be sharing this to other coaches, aspiring coaches who wants to know more about this, maybe some YouTube channels or somewhere. And second part, the information that I'll share, it will be purely from my own personal experience. So which may not work. So please use it as it deemed fit for you. So with that, let me start with this particular mission, which I have thought about for my organization and more importantly for me. So while I was going through this credential exam, I got a lot of awareness as I was preparing for it. And I found that there are many unsaid things, many implicit information, which is not explicitly called out in many of the videos that I tried preparing, like while preparing, which I looked at. I did not get that. So what I thought was like, I would get into a mission where I will start raising awareness on this professional coaching. And the three key stakeholders would be the coaches and aspiring coaches, clients, and sponsors. To give you an example, I struggled. It is very obvious, and everyone told that being a non-speaking English country, you'll get 1 hour extra. But I had to wait for 2 days before I could submit the application and realize when it will appear. I checked with many people, no one had an answer. No one could give me a ready-made answer. Maybe I may not have reached to the right people, but nowhere in the FAQ of ICF I could find. And I had to send an email to the ICF support team to get this acknowledgement and information. And then I have also suggested back that if they can put this in FAQ, how do we get that 1 hour of extension? Do we have to do something special or not? So with that background, I've started this mission of bringing in awareness. And thank you again for asking for it, for which I made this presentation, which I'll be using and sharing to others. So I'm going to take some 30 to 40 minutes, share the whole stuff like what I have gone through. And mostly I have tried to bring in those information which you'd not easily find out. Like say, you'll easily find out that there are 81 questions for this credential, ICF credential exam. I'm not going to talk about how many questions, all those stuff. I'm going to talk more what you not generally find out.
So, Raj, can we ask questions now or at the end?
Yeah, so that is what my next point was. I would request to hold on your questions until the end, because maybe your question would get answered by end of that. But in between, I may take 1 or 2 questions because I have plenty of information to be shared. When I was calculating, I found it difficult to squeeze, but I'm happy to extend beyond the time limit if some answers are still, if some questions are still not answered. Is that fine, Manish? Is that fine?
Yeah, absolutely. I was on.
Okay. Yeah. So before I start, I want you people to please pat your back. And why I'm saying this is, if you are here attending this session, it means the fire is still on in you to continue with this credential exam. So please pat your back. Which also means my objective of this for this session would be to put in some fuel which will burn this fire a little bit more and bring some motivation, give you some comfortness so that you reach your destination little quickly. So that would be my objective at the end. Is the objective good to you people? I can't see. Maybe you have to just call it out because I'm sharing the screen.
Absolutely, Raj.
Okay, thank you. So I will be sharing some core resources, some additional resources to start with, and about the mock exam. That is how the flow would be. Then I'll be talking about some information about scheduling the exam information, something to note, my biggest challenge, and one mantra to success, my mantra to success. So this is how the flow would be. So I'm sure like you'll get this information, this core resources. And I really call this as core resources because this is the key for your preparation. Obviously, to know, understand about this whole credential exam. So there are credential exam related information, exam procedure information. And I've also tried to put some timeline, how much it would take, how much it took me to go through this portals or these websites. And these are all ICF, like you will find all this information from ICF portal. So coachingfederation.org. So the second part is the core values, and I like to go through the whole set of core values. It will take approximately 1 hour. Then the core competencies, the 8 core competencies, and then the ICF code of ethics. So in the core competencies, like there are a PCC markers, which also are equally important while preparing for this exam. And you'll also find ICF provided YouTube. There are 8 YouTube videos, which would roughly take 1.5 hours to go through this. So these are the resources for learning and getting aware of this ICF core competencies. And then for ICF code of ethics, you have code of ethics, you have ethics FAQs, you have insights and considerations for ethics. It is also sometimes called as like interpretive statements. So this is nothing but insights and considerations. You'll find like more scenarios, more examples with respect to the 24 code of ethics that is listed under ICF code of ethics. And you also have a similar YouTube videos. There are multiple videos, and the total would take around 1.5 hours. I have actually tried to give this hours so that it can help you quickly decide, okay, how much time you should spend to prepare for it. So that's why that was the intention of putting these hours. So to call out few of my personal experience, you should plan to go through the ICF core of competencies and ICF code of ethics multiple times, because this is the key. Obviously, like all these are equally important, but if you have to relatively put in some more focus here, and to give you a sample time calculation, like when I said multiple times, I have gone through this more than 4 times, but I think you should go multiple times. The reason being, every time you read, you will find new learnings, because every statement, every word in each of these documents, videos are like would provide you some information. So I kept hearing the YouTube videos whenever I got time, maybe while driving, while walking. And, during our training and coach educations, like mostly our focus is more on the competencies. But I found that the code of ethics, which is not spoken much, has more importance in this credential exams. So that's why I'm going to highlight that while core competencies are required, but this is one of the key resources, the insights and considerations for ethics or interpretive statements, which is also called as. I'll move to the next slide, where these are some of the additional resources, again, coming from this ICF portal. There is a white paper where on therapy, like when a coach should refer to a therapist. There are more resources on code of ethics, like it talks about the ICF ethics assist line, the community of practice, the water cooler conversation, and many more informations are there under this. And there are also, like, we need to know what is the ethical conduct review process. So these are also some additional resources which you should go through before getting into an exam, because sometimes these are also uh, connected. When should you refer to a therapist, to give an example? As you'd be a member, because like mostly we take this members route to apply before we apply for the exam. So you'll have access to sample agreements, like 101 or a three-party agreements. So these are two good agreements which you should read before getting into the exams, because whatever you have learned in the theory, and you are expected to use some actual agreements while getting into any coaching contract. So these are some samples, and these samples are written in line with the core competencies and code of ethics. You should also look at the ICF policies. So there are multiple ICF policies. Some to focus is the privacy policy, the research policy, the spam policy, but there are many more. So you should also take a look at these ICF policies, not only the core resources. And then there are 8 sample questions on the website, ICF portal. So you should also look at that. And with respect to this additional resources, my experience says that for these 8 questions, like in the website, there is no such explanation why something has been um, marked as best answer or something has been marked as worst answer. So I would recommend look for explanation videos. You'll find many in the YouTube. Plus, if you have taken training from your any training organization, coach training organization, they would provide some explanations. Try to go through those and go through multiple videos which explains the same 8 sample questions, because when they explain which one is the right or the best answer, which one is the worst answer, they also explain the reasoning, and how to get into that conclusion of this is the best answer, this is the worst answer. So that actually helps you tune how you would approach in an exam. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, I found one video from Lisa DeHart, which talks about one ACAT terminology, which the expansion is A for asking, C for client-centered, another C for curiosity, the fourth one awareness of judgments and bias, and transparency. So when you are trying to identify a best and a worst answer, you would keep this in mind. If in your options, if you are asking something or you are telling something, so asking related questions may go towards best, telling something would go towards worst scenarios. So these are some keywords like client-centered, whether the options are client-centered or coach-centered. Client-centered answer would go towards best, coach-centered options would go towards worst, or coach-centered may not be the best. So this is one good thing that I found, which would make your thought process little aligned. So you can go through this video. There are some good explanations out here. So I will take a pause after this slide and maybe take 1 or 2 questions until now. So I am sure like some of you would have seen me looking for mock exams earlier in like sometime in mid-January or early January. Okay. You know, I did not get a trusted source for this mock exam or sample questions. Nowhere. And What I tried was there are two such stuffs which was floating. Like I Googled like something we got from our known resources that there is a exam simulator from Solution Academy. And then when I Googled, I found some credential exam preparation from jigsaw.coach, and I tried that. And the result was I got confused. Reason being, I found some questions are like same in both this simulation, but the answers are different. And I don't know what to do. Finally, what I did was I accepted the worst scenario. I accepted to spend $105 extra. This is the retake fee. So when I have already spent $2,000 by the time I am attempting this. And I will not sigh out telling here that I attempted, I failed my first in the first attempt, and I cleared in the second attempt. So I'll take a pause before I go further. Any questions or any comments? Maybe I'll take 2, 3.
Yeah, so Raj, firstly, what I see on the screen of Solution Academy and Jigsaw Coach, uh, am I correct in understanding that these are two separate entities which offer support for ICF?
Yeah. So there are some exam. So this one is a direct Google form link.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this one you have to purchase. So some 2,000 rupees or 2,200 rupees I purchased using this. I only
So did,
purchased mock-up questions.
right. So did you get any support through Grow More for these sample questions?
So I had requested for, but because I was in a hurry, I just moved forward.
Achha, okay. Then my other question is that before you started doing the exam, what about the 3 recordings?
Okay,
Were you
that I'll cover.
Acha,
So,
you are coming. Okay, okay.
so our focus is more on the exam right now rather than the process. All those process related we can take at the end.
Fair enough.
Any one more last
Yeah,
question?
so Raj, actually, yeah, so thank you for sharing all these things. And just to let you know, last month also I appeared for the exam and I also got failed. I scored 454 out of, I think 460 is the passing marks. So I'm just preparing and, for the second attempt. And yeah, I would love to know more because I think what I've realized is the weakness is like identifying the worst answers basically. So that's somewhere I need to focus more how to identify the worst. So yeah, if you could share more on that, I think that would be.
Yeah. So even when I was doing this, like simulations or like sample exams or mock exams, I found I was doing more wrong in the worst rather than the best. So the trend is true. So it is very difficult to find out the worst than the best answer. Okay. So let's move on. Let me continue sharing the rest of the stuff. Okay. So scheduling exams, I'm going to share some of the information which may help you when you get into the scheduling exams. So one is the exam mode. Prefer taking an in-person exam over home or online, because when you are doing a home or online, you'll be monitored, you'll be bothered in between to showcase where you are, who else is there in the room. There will be interruptions. So I think this is a heavy weight exam, brain consuming exam. You should have your brain chunks should be utilized fully for the exam, not for these interruptions. So you should have one less worry while delivering the exam. So this is and this one you will see from many videos who recommend. Now, the other thing that I got a input that when you are trying to block this in-person exam, try to schedule in a Pearson one view centers rather than their associate centers. So when you are trying to search for the centers, you may find someone very close to your house. So they would be mostly an associated centers. So if you want to really see which are the original Pearson Professional Centers, you can see their center name starting as Pearson Professional Centers - some name. So when you go there, and I have not experienced the associated centers, but one of my colleagues told that you should go and do there because they're like relatively more professional, more better. So try to schedule in one of the Pearson One View centers. The exam duration, non-English speaking countries get 1 hour extension automatically. This one as I was telling you at the initial time of this particular presentation, I struggled to find out when do I get this 1 hour extension, because when I was trying to schedule, it was saying me that, okay, you schedule for 3 hours. So then I was confused. Do I have to take some special approval before I really submit this application, or I will get it automatically? So then I had to send an email to the support group, and then they acknowledged once you submit, you'll get this automated extension in the email. So don't worry about this extension. You just submit by default based on your application information that you have submitted from India. So you'll get these extensions automatically. So don't worry about this. Exam confirmation. So you'll get that 4-hour extra slot. You'll get it in the email. So look for that. Now, one thing to be aware, you'll be not allowed to take anything inside the test center. While the prometric center, you may take your mobile and all stuff, but to the exam, where you will be giving the exam, except for your ID, and if you have a specs or like a glass, those are the only 2 things that would be allowed. Not even handkerchief, water bottle, pen, nothing you'll be allowed. So these are some of the experience that I had. In fact, my first attempt, when I heard a video, they said, okay, when you get inside the room, you start dump and write the core competencies in the paper that you get it. And then, so that when you are answering, you can always refer that, so that you don't have to think again and again. But when I got in, these people, they didn't allow me to spend any time inside the test center. They just started the exam. So then I got little panic because I had a plan to write down those and I did not get that time. So I lost some 5 minutes to stabilize myself during that exam. Now some more exam information. Your question type, it is 100% situational scenario-based exam. There is no direct validation of ICF core values, competencies, or code of ethics. They will not ask you whether out of this 4, which one is a code of ethics or which one is not. So they are not going to put a direct validation. It is 100% situational and scenario-based. Each question has 3 parts. It will start with a background like, okay, how long you have been engaged, what is the profile of your client, executive or like a partner, business partner, all the stuff. Then there will be a scenario that would be given along with the post to the background. And then finally the question. So each information in these 3, it is not that the scenario and question is important. Including the background information is also equally important. So when you read those questions, read through 1 or 2 times before getting into the responses, because each element in this question is key. Now, see, normally when we have seen in all those places, the user interface to answer the question is for best answer 1 screen and worst answer another screen. But the good news is that you get one user interface where the question would be on the top, the 4 options would be on the right side, and left side there will be a place to drag and drop the best answer and the worst answer. So which means once you have identified one of the best answer or one of the worst answer, you have 3 left to identify the other answer. So this was much easier and also you have the situation on the top. So it is very easy to, it has a very good user interface, I would say. Question and answer time, I think like 4 hours was good enough to go through all the questions, roughly 25 minutes for 10 questions. And in one section, you'll have so 40 questions, so 100 minutes. So you will be able to complete 100, like this 40 questions in around 100 minutes, and you'll still be left over with another 15 to 20 minutes for your review. You can flag something as you are moving, progressing. You can flag something to review later, and you can proceed forward. Somewhere if you're stuck, don't spend time. You can always flag in and come back to review once you are done with all the question answers. Something to note, memorizing the values, competencies, ethics won't help. Understanding it for its application. So you need to, when you are reading the values, competencies, or ethics, see how you are going to apply it. Because as I said, this is completely situational based questions. So the thing would be like, it will be more looking for applications and not direct one. So memorizing won't help. You have to tune in to a coaching mindset. So you have to wear 100% coach hat while responding the response. Don't mix coach plus mentor, coach plus trainer, coach plus consultant while responding. If you start thinking in this manner, your answers are highly possible that it will go wrong. Quick reference, I created one pager strategy mindset to apply during the exam. So when I went through all the resources, all the additional resources, and trying to bring in this coaching mindset, I created one pager, which I'll show you. I'll give you a glance in the next slide. And that helped me tune my mindset for the exam. Ethics first. So while responding to the scenarios, while the question would be based on the 8 competencies, but give priority to the ethics, because ethic is very strictly considered in coaching. So this is one learning I got through while in this journey and from the different resources. And what we have seen is during our training or education, our focus is more on the competencies. We have hardly learned, hardly heard in our journey about this ethics. So when we start preparing for it, you will realize what you have not learned so far when you start preparing for this. And there is a good amount of information which we should know in this ethics. Finally, there are some interpretive statements, because this, I said, okay, ethics first. So there is a site which I already shared, insights and consideration for ethics, or which is also called as interpretive statements. These are additional scenarios, examples about ethics or code of ethics. So you should read this one, this particular one, and this is one of the, and I've seen multiple example scenarios which are available out here that connects to the exams questions as well. So I was referring to the one pager. So this is what I just created, coaching mindset. I should wear a hat while responding. I should be open, curious, ethical, integrity. I should have a concern for the client, support for the client, respectful for the client, honesty, exploration, client-centered. So this is something about the coaching mindset. I should be future focused. I should help my client to move forward. I should use intuition to client's benefit. I should enable my client to deepen learning. So, and there are many things about that. So these are, while this kind of things should help me find the best answers, what would help me, what kind of mindset would help me identify the worst answer. If I'm directing, if I'm leading, if I'm judging, if I'm guiding, if I'm disrespecting, ignoring emotions or observation. So this one, something like I realized, like if at all there is an emotion, observation that is called out in the solutions, in the questions, if we are not responding to that, then that is a worst thing. So if I'm ignoring it, that has been considered as worst answer. And we are getting directly to the solutions. We are not curious enough. So there are certain things. Similarly, with respect to client, some of the key statements I had kept, and some with respect to coach. So maybe I'll just call out no guarantee regarding client success. When you learn that, when you read all this code of ethics, interpretive statements, you'll find this that, okay, as a coach, we should not guarantee success to our client. We should not, what do you say, talk high about coaching that, okay, coaching will do wonders. So you'll find a lot of such things which are in real time expected on the ground. Now I'll come back to some of my biggest challenges. 4 hours, long hours. So we are not used to these 4 sitting hours. So practicing it, and I tried some meditation that helped me. And there is a 5 minutes break that is allowed between 2 sessions. So we should take this 5 minutes break. Don't be in a hurry to just complete it. Take this 5 minutes break. Best versus worst, the biggest confusion. As I said, the recorded advices did not work like usage. Okay, so I saw many recordings where they said, okay, watch for some ICF recognized words like acknowledge, like recognize, like intuition, something which you will find in the ICF core competencies or PCC markers. So and I went with that, the first attempt, I went with this thought process. But when I saw all the 4 options had acknowledge word, I was doomed there. Like, okay, what do I do now? I came with the mindset that if acknowledge word is there, then that is the best answer. And then I realized there are 4 options with all the acknowledge word. So my one pager that I just showed, that helped me to, at least in the second attempt, it helped me go further. Improvement area, I think we just get only score. We cannot have any analysis on our performance. So because you cannot know, I think we just need to have confidence in ourselves and trust in ourselves. And what has also helped me is when I did this 100 hours of coaching conversation, I did it as per the ICF standards, ICF expectations. So that actually helped me keep my confidence and trust high that, okay, I'll be able to clear someday. Learning method, for me, like reading, like just by reading, I was not able to focus. I was not able to remember. So my way of learning is to write it. So I wrote the content. When I say content, the core resources I just showed, the values, the ethics, interpretive statements, the competencies, PCC markers. All of them I wrote 4 times, 2 times in the first attempt and another 2 times. Everything I wrote, because that is how I remember things. So there are some missing key informations. So every statement in ICF core competency and code of ethics are crucial. So as I was saying, like every statement that in the resources, they're important. So when you hear or when you write, so first time when I wrote and second time when I wrote, I got a new learning. Third time I wrote, I got another new learning. Similarly, these 2 videos of which I spoke about, competencies and ethics, which is 1.5 hours, starting from January 2nd until January 30th. Almost every alternate day, I used to hear either of these videos just to get the hear the what it is being told, what it is not being told, like in that video. The last slide, my mantra to success is one small step at a time. And this I applied for the complete ICF journey, which I started on February 28th with some of you in my cohort, which I ended on 30th. So when I was doing this 60 hours, which we got like almost 80 hours we studied, I never focused on mentoring or performance evaluation or exam. I just focused on the studies. So when I was in mentoring, I did not focus about performance evaluation. I just like focused on the mentoring and whatever I said. And then performance evaluation. Only when the performance evaluation got approved, then only I started studying about this exam. I started my preparation on January 2nd. I was on leave. I came back to Bangalore on January 1st. 2nd, I started my preparation. January 12th, I gave my first attempt. So you can give a retake only after a break of 14 days if you don't pass your first attempt. And I gave my next attempt on January 30th. And while I did this, I continued my 100 hours of coaching conversation strictly as per ICF standards. This was one of the element that helped me in this exam. So one step at a time. So if you have not completed your performance evaluation, don't worry about exam. Just focus on this, get this one out. If you have not completed this, focus on this, get this one out. The same approach in the first attempt, I did a mistake. So these 40 questions in the first 2 hours, after every 2-3 minutes, I was looking at the watch, how much I have done, how much time remaining, and I was worried. Then in the second attempt, I took this. I said, I'm not going to do this evaluation of how many questions I have completed or how much time is left until I have completed 10 questions. So then I will do that calculation. After another 10 questions, I then saw, okay, how much time left and how much questions, like by this 20, like, okay, how much time left, whether it is good for the next 20 minutes. So this is how, when I did this in the second attempt, I felt so comfortable. The whole 4 hours, I did not really felt it because my focus was one small goal, 10 questions at a time. Then I started focusing about another 10. So this lightened my whole exam process and this journey. Last, my gratitude to Grow More Avenues who have helped us, especially Inderjit, who was a trainer, Garima, who was my mentor, coach. And you remember, like, some people who are from Grow More, you know, this Inderjit used to always say, it is all about the client. And he kept on repeating. And that is what I saw, like that client-centered approach in our responses helped. And Garima used to tell in the mentoring cohort that think like a coach, wear a coach hat. And that is the coaching mindset I was referring to. That helped. My clients, special gratitude to all of them, because they were open enough, they were willing to share their problems and their accomplishments. And then finally, my peer coaches, many of you are my board members. We did multiple buddy coachings, gave feedback to each other, collaborated. So thank you. So this is all I have to say, and we have 15 more minutes for Q&A.
So thank you. Thank you so much, Raj, for sharing. A lot of stuff that you shared, we definitely did not know about it. And thanks for sharing the process part also. One quick question about the 3 recordings. By the time you submitted the 3rd recording, did you get a feedback saying perfect, everything is great, and now you can apply for the exam? Or there were still some improvement areas and you anyway went ahead and applied for the exam?
Yeah. So when I I provided, I think 3 recordings. Okay.
Mhm.
When I first provided the first recording, I was given feedback. And in fact, I had a 2-hour session with my mentor coach. And then she explained me step by step without hurrying to close that feedback session. Each nitty-gritty is where I was doing mistake. They shared a So I had sent a transcript and they had put in, okay, this is where you can do better. This is where you can refine. So I took that first recording input and then like created 2 more videos.
Okay.
And finally they said, okay, one of them is as per ICF standards and they approved it.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other?
Did the result of your exam come immediately, or did it take a day or two?
It is immediate. You sit there, you submit your answer, like responses, and you come out, the printout would be ready for you.
Okay.
Yeah, Gautam.
Yeah, Raj, could you also elaborate on, maybe some learning about the worst answers? I mean, what you figured, some kind of a pattern to which will help us choose the worst answers.
See, I'm abide by ICF Code of Ethics. I cannot share the questions here.
No, I don't wish you to share the questions, but some methodology by virtue of it, you can actually segregate the best
Yeah, I
answers
said.
from the worst.
Yeah. So I shared with you this. Let me share the screen once again. Right. So I shared with you this one pager.
The acronym,
Ah,
the acronym that you said.
no, the acronym is one. Yeah. So the acronym definitely help ACAT, right? Asking versus telling, curiosity versus non-curiosity, client-centered versus coaching, then awareness of whether you are judging or you are non-judgmental, and then the final is transparency, whether you are hiding information or transparency. The other things that I have found out, if you are disrespectful, then it would be a worst scenario. If you are ignoring emotions or observations, if it is given in the solution, in the scenario, right? If you are ignoring that, then that is also a worst answer. If you are directly going to the solutions without opening your curiosity muscle, then that can be also an uh, worst answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Samita. You're on mute if you're speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Raj. Good
Hi.
evening and
Very nice.
congratulations. I
Thank you.
feel very proud of you because you were the first buddy coach that I interacted with. And I still remember that big board you had behind, and you had your journey, and you showed me, see, this is where I have marked, that this is where I will reach. I saw that board, I was maha impressed, but I did not make the board also, and I haven't reached either. I am still there. But I'm very happy for you. And it was very, very nice listening to you. And in fact, there are many queries which have been sorted out. But I just want to know one thing. Like, I had submitted one recording, and after that, due to some official engagements, it has gone into slumber. I think it's almost 2 months now. What I want to know is there any time period in which you have to finish all these 3 recordings?
So that depends on the training or the coaching organization with whom you are aligned with. So,
Okay.
so they have a timeline to support you in that whole process.
All right. So I should be asking Pratima about it.
Yes.
Okay, indeed. And
Yeah.
I missed the initial part of your video because I was stuck up with some work. So if you really don't mind, can you share the slides which you have made so that I can go through those?
Yeah, I'll share the slides minus that one pager page.
Okay, okay. Sure, 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 sure.
Because
Thank you so much and congratulations once again.
thank you.
So Raj, so thank you, I mean, for all the resources that you have shared. And yeah, I think there are a few links that you have prepared. So from the ICF directly. So if you could share that slide, I think that would really help. One more thing, I've just came across one mock test that is costing $150. Okay, and I'm not sure whether you are aware or not how authentic it is. Can I share the link here so that, I mean, if you
Yeah, yeah, you
can take a look?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can say that. In fact, I will share a story about this. Okay,
Okay.
I
So
looked at I looked at this $150, and I
Mhm.
said, why should I take this $150 when my retake fee is $105?
Yeah, exactly.
So that is a strategy that I, because I also saw this stuff.
Yeah.
I have the link.
Okay. Okay.
I preferred, okay, if I have to do a mock
Mm.
test, 150, like let me go and do that direct exam.
Mm. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Was this to open book exam?
No.
No, no.
Okay.
It's like you will be put in a cell, and you have to focus 4 hours on a computer screen, and you have to write it.
That's right. That's right. कोई बात नहीं.
That-
We take motivation from Raj, and अगर राज कर सकते हैं, हम भी करेंगे.
Yeah. See, I'll tell you, it's just matter of giving that exam. And I gave you one figure, right? Okay, we have already spent, by the time you sit for the exam, we would have spent $2,000 approximately, each one of us. Uske
Yeah.
आगे $5 कुछ नहीं है. Like this, we can always go and attempt it, experience it, and then move on. Like what Vishal, like, see, it's very difficult to like openly say that, okay, I failed in the very first attempt, right? But again, it's like there is nothing wrong in it. What's so for this, whatever I'm getting, the recognition that I'm getting today, that is because I attempted one and failed one. So just go attempt the exam and you will go through. And the first exam would give you at least a hint that whether you are in the right direction. See, if you are missing the exam by very few scores, like the passing score is 460. So if you are around, like, say, anything greater than 400, right? It means you are almost there, right? So, and you don't have to change your strategy, because the biggest challenge is we don't know where we have done bad. So we just have to think through those questions, what has come. And when we read the second time, you'll remember those questions and the scenarios. When you read for the second time, that time you can think through, did I answer it right or did I do some mess there? And I found many things like which, when I said, right, every time I read the core competencies and the ethics, I found some new element. And then I realized, yes, I did this mistake. I went directly to the solutions. So wherever there is a direct to the solutions, that was identified as one of the worst scenario. Many places I ignored the intuitions or observations, like, okay, this person is stressed, right? I ignored those elements and I just started focusing on the answers, which is the best answer, which is the worst answer. So many things that you will come to know once you first attempt once, because any mock exam, at least I did not feel comfortable about those reasoning for the right answer.
Okay, one more thing, that after this exam, do they let you know what were the correct answers, like we had it for the first exam? No.
No, nowhere, like neither in the first nor in the second, nowhere you get to know. So that is the biggest challenge here. If you have
Just get
Okay.
the score.
yeah, if you have to improve, where to improve?
No idea.
Correct. Acha, and how many MCQs? It's basically 3 answers, 3 options, 4 options.
81 questions, for each question, 4 options.
So that means you have to take this exam 4 times. Every time you can say, yaar, A tick kiya tha, now let me try with B. अच्छा, but do they let you know which are correct and which are wrong? इतना तो बताते होंगे. ये भी नहीं
No,
बताते.
no. You
Then
just
Raj,
get
then you are a very big achiever. More proud of you. Manish, have you cleared it?
No, I haven't done it yet.
ओ देख मनीष तो पहले से ही अपना टोपी टोपी पहन के बैठ गए हैं. He will study. ओहो चलो but नहीं फिर भी you have given us some encouragement. I can think of something.
Yeah. See, if you see, I showed you in the first slide, roughly it will be like 15 to 20 hours. 15 to 20 hours. If you have to read once the whole course, that would enable you to give the exams. Okay. And Vishal, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The whole core, the values, the core competencies, the ethics, the PCC marker, and the interpretive statements. 15 to 20 hours. Once, if you have to, like, if you focusly study, 15 to 20 hours it will take. You should attempt doing that multiple times. So you can just multiply by the number of attempts you are planning. So this should help. This information I thought I will give you people so that it helps you plan. एक week अगर बैठोगे, it will be like you'll be done. If you sit for 1 week.
So Raj, all of these are available through the ICF website, all these resources?
Yes. I'll give you, you just use this link. You don't have to search around there. I'm going to send you these PDFs.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And one more thing, as you said, that if you flunk for the first time, then it is after 14 days that you can take this exam again. Is it?
Correct.
So all those 14 days you were studying?
Yes.
Okay.
Not all the 14 days, but yeah, I had time for 14 days. What in that 14 days, what I was definitely doing was the initial 7 days, every alternate days, I was hearing those YouTube videos, which is 1.5 hours. Last 3 days, I wrote twice the competencies, interpretive statements, and the PCC marker. I wrote twice the last 3 days, just prior to the exam.
So what is the score that you got finally?
Sorry?
What is your score, first attempt and second attempt?
So I'm not supposed to share that.
Huh?
Yeah. So
Okay.
again, it is as per ICF Code of Conduct.
Okay, good.
So, Raj, just to ask the things that you shared with us, like the one pager you made and the most of the studies that you did, and you're saying that you did it in the 14 days gap between the first and the second attempt, right? Most of these kind of ideas that you got was before your second attempt. Right. So, would it be correct to say that now that you've been kind enough to share all of this information with us, do you think if a person just ensures that they kind of go through these ethics values, because I wrote specifically these things, you said code of ethics, the values, and of course the core competencies. If we go through that time and again and probably in our heads create scenarios around it and then think scenario wise rather than, as you said, that learning and mugging up all of that would not really help, right? So then that sounds like the right plan as per you.
Yes.
Okay. And the PCC markers that you were sharing, so is it that those specific words that you were referring to, that's what is helpful? Or, I mean, do we need to really read about PCC markers, or is it just a part of these three things?
So what I found that in the PCC markers, those are the actions that are expected during your coaching conversation. So you will see those kind of, those are the options you will see in the exams.
Okay.
So that is
So
how
going through that.
So because when the PCC markers are used to evaluate your performance evaluation, the recordings, right? So which means you are expected to do that. Those are the situations which you have to respond in the answers or the options that you would be given in the credential exam.
Got that. Thank you so much again, Raj. I think this is really, really helpful because even I was looking at quite a few videos online. And while I did find some information, I did not really find anything very substantial, which I could say that, oh God, this really gives me a clear picture. I was like, oh, okay, I have to watch multiple videos to get one core understanding. But this 1 hour, I think I've got a lot of information that is useful per se. So thank you so much.
I'm happy. So I'll be more happy when I hear one of you confirming back that, okay, you have cleared. Because that is the objective. When I started, I said I wanted to add in some fuel to you so that you are more motivated. You get little bit clarity and more comfortable now attempting after hearing this